This is an unsafe Mazda 3. Both rocker panels are rusted through, and honestly, it's not worth saving. Later we'll find even more structural rust together. But I promised my girlfriend I'd fix it, so in the next 20 minutes, you and I are bringing it back on the road. But let's just start with the easiest part, disassembling. At first we are going to take off all the wheels and arch liners. Now we're removing both front fenders in order to be able to reach the panel underneath. Maybe there's a surprise underneath these fenders.
Wow, so much dirt in it. Ew.
Now we take out the blinker, and of course I have removed the blinker fluid before. The first step is done, but there are so many ahead of us. Not to mention the huge rusty announcement later in that video. So I just wanted to remove all the bono in this corner. Oh my gosh, bad idea. Don't do it, please, don't do it. Well, that's a whole nother level of Swiss cheese. I don't know what this exactly is, but it ain't metal. So here you and I are trying to separate these panels, but therefore we need to remove the spot welds first, which is actually a long process. So let's begin with cutting the car. Pretty terrifying. There's no going back from now. And now we are cutting the rocker panel along a string, you know, to cut in a straight line. But later you'll see why it won't matter whether we are cutting straight or not. But for now we are concentrating on this side here. The first panel is going to come off. You'll even see in a minute why this car is a rust disaster. And great, more rust. Now we are removing the rusted through panel. Then we need to remove this cavity grease because this stuff burns. And we don't want the car to catch on fire. But maybe this wouldn't be that bad after all. So this pinch section here is made of 3 different layers. There's the inner structure, the middle layer and the outer layer, aka the sill. On this spot, all 3 panels are rotten through. After removing the second layer, because it was also rusty, we put on some rust converter to save the existing metal. And now we are doing the exact same thing on the other side too, except for one small difference. This time the whole rear arch is crumbling like a cookie. Well, now I'm overwhelmed and scared. I don't even know how to fix this. And I have never done something like this before. And also here we removed the second layer. And here it is quite obvious why. There was rust behind this panel. To be honest, after this great rust reveal, I thought it was time to bring it to the junkyard. But I can't just give up because something is not easy. So now we are fabricating and welding on the second layer, aka the middle layer. And after we are done with that, we are creating a checking point out of 2mm thick steel. The checking points were already caved in, so I thought, why not make them stronger? Now we are going to tackle this section here. Cutting out the old cheese piece and then fabricating and welding in new good metal. Finished! Yeah! And now we are creating the middle layer. So now I'm welding in this piece here. And after that we are also putting on a 2mm thick steel plate because here's also a checking point. This section here is now really sturdy and we can check up the car here. And now we are fabricating the sills. And all we need for that is a drive shaft from a BMW E46 and a piece of wood. And a few screws. So let's fabricate some new rocker panels, which I also haven't done before. So I don't really know what I'm doing here. Each of them is exactly 50 centimeters long, which adds up to 1,50 meters. Now I'm welding them together. Here's the rocker panel. I know it ain't perfect, but I think for a car like that, where you don't want to spend thousands of dollars to repair it, it is good enough. Now we are scuffing up the surface and then spray on some weld-through primer. Right now I'm really nervous and excited at the same time. After many hours of work, we are finally ready to finish one side. So let's bolt up the new panel and cut along the edge of it. By doing that, we are making sure that it will fit perfectly. I'm actually quite nervous because this has to fit properly now. And welding again. We are just tack welding it for now. The whole worker panel is going well together. And right now we just have to do the front here and here the back. Yeah, now it's time to fabricate the rear section. Therefore I already pre-bent a panel. And after cutting it to size, we tack weld it up. And now it is time to do the exact same thing on the other side too. So after many hours of work, we are finally at this point where we can lift up this car again. Please no crunch, please no crunch. Yes! Finally! It's on the lift again. How to remove this rear bumper? Oh please, don't break. Everything is good. Now I'm going to remove the bolts. 1, 2. Can't find my screwdriver right now. Yeah, this works. Magic! And now we're test fitting the new arch panel. But this is going to be my biggest challenge ever. We need to recreate the edge of the inner arch line. Never done something like that before. And I don't even have the proper tools to do it. But well, after some thinking, I came up with an idea. So at first I made a template. Then we are cutting it out of some metal. And now we are bending the edge in shape. Now I'm trimming away the unnecessary bits and then I think we can weld it. And after trimming, we are bolting it up with some self-tappers and then cutting out the old metal. And last step, welding. Guys, we did it! Take a look at that, this looks very good. Let's test fit the arch panel again. Perfect! Now we're also bolting it up with some screws. Right now everything is prepared so we can cut out the corners here. So we only have this one try here. And hopefully I can get it right. Otherwise I've ruined a panel which cost 120 euros. So here goes nothing. And if you like seeing cars rescued from the junkyard, subscribe. Because my channel is all about getting cars on the road again. You know what? I think this is going to fit fine. Before welding it on, we need to prime the inner structure. So the next step is to slap on this panel here. This doesn't work. I have an idea! Yeah, so let's use our last 2 brain cells and weld it on. Before I'm going to show you the outcome, we are going to weld the missing rocker panel pieces in the front. This here looks really good.
I said the last drink was the last drink.
So all the fabrication is almost done. But if we would leave it like that, I promise you these panels will fall off in the next few drives. Yeah, so let's weld every single seam on these rockers. This is going to take some time. And the rocker panels are also finished. Now comes the part I have been fearing the most. Let's start by removing the wheel, and after that we are trimming the excess material. So right now I'm trying to trace down the curvature of this arch panel. We need to know the curvature in order to fabricate the missing piece on the driver's side. Let's mark the excess and trim it, and then fabricate a new panel. The last step is to make some relief cuts, so we are able to bend it. And after welding the new panel on, we also need to trim the excess. So I need to remove the wheel and then plug well every spot here. Then this section is finished. Okay, yeah, I have to do something like here. But then this section is finished. So let's remove the wheel and then weld these spots. And I have to confess something. While welding these spots, I have made a dent in it. So I have spent 15 to 20 minutes making it straight again, and I think I was rather successful with removing it, luckily. All the welding on this side is now finished, and I'm pretty happy. Well, so far so good. Now it is time to make it look good. Let's start by grinding down all of these welding seams. This took ages, but to be honest, these panels now look really good. What do you think about it? So, the next step is to make sure that these rocker panels won't ever rust again. So therefore we have some cable grease here. Let's make sure that our enemy, the rust, has no chance against these new panels. After some cleaning, it is time to put on some sticky stuff, the Bondo. But to be honest, this is the most tedious job on this restoration. Yesterday we finished with all the filler and we've put everything on. So at first I think I'm going to grind down all the filler. For the first round I'm just using the roughest sandpaper I have. Well, guess how long I grinded down these panels by hand. It took me 5 minutes, then I wanted to use a machine for that. But also this machine didn't have the motivation to do this job. So I had to buy a new tool. Here. And now I can play with some new toys. So exciting. This is pretty good. Oh my. But after 10 minutes, I felt bored again. But you know, we need to do this job. Although I hate it, this will transform the car the most. So my question is, do you like doing bodywork? Cleaning again. And then we are spreading even more Bondo on to make a leveled surface. And sanding again. Take a look at that here. This looks pretty good. And also on the bottom here, it also looks pretty good. Just to remove all small pillings or holes, we're putting on some thinner Bondo and then sanding it again. Time for some paint, finally. But in the process of that, I've made a huge mistake. And trust me, you don't want to make the same mistake I did. Well, let's start at the beginning with masking up the car. Since my girlfriend drives this car, the interior shouldn't be getting blue. For the last time, cleaning the car, and then we're going to put on some primer. And now, right here, we are making the biggest mistake yet. The plan was to paint the rocker and quarter panels blue. For the underside of the rocker, I just wanted to use some black stone chip protection. Well, I got it done yesterday, but the color, unfortunately, is pretty much different. My new game plan is recolor everything with this color. Not only that I've used the wrong color, also dust was in the paint. So hopefully I've learned out of this dumb mistake and never paint outside and also never paint in the wrong color again. So this took me another whole day to remove all of the paint and repaint the car. Sadly, while painting this car, I didn't have enough clear coat, so I've bought a new bottle and we're going to spray on some clear coat. Since the paint was drying overnight, I needed to remove all the dust or dirt that has settled. And then we could spray on some clear. But did we get it right this time? This is 100% the same color. Yeah! I'm actually pretty proud that I've just grinded everything, the whole paint from before off and did it once more. The last step we have to do is to mask up this section here so that we can paint black here. Yeah, so I used some tape and cardboard to protect the paint. And now it is time to spray on some stone chip protection. And done. And the next step is to delete this hole here. These here are some leftovers, and I think this here fits perfectly on here. Well, this car has rust all over the place, but yeah, that's why we're here. And to be honest, this was my fastest welding job ever. I think this panel took me about half an hour. And I've never been so fast. This looks pretty good. I just need to grind it down a little bit. Actually, I'm don't grinding it down, I'm just removing the residue on here and then cover it up. I don't know how you think about it, but I think it looks decent. And we found another hole right in the frame rail. So I decided to use a 2mm thick steel plate. And when we are putting on some understeel, nobody will ever see this again. Now it's time to assemble the car again, so that we can enjoy the end product. It's the most rewarding part. And first, we are starting by installing all the interior bits again. First, the carpet, and then we are installing the trims again. Now comes the driver's seat. 2 bolts in the front and 2 bolts in the back. And after installing the rear seats, the interior is finished. Well, it is time. We are going to start this car and drive it out for the first time in about 2 months. Let's hope this car even starts. To be honest, I highly doubt that it will start.
Oh, it's waking up. Oh my gosh! This car!
I'm so glad that it started. But before we are installing the rest onto the car, we need to fix the rust on this fender first. After welding, we grind them down. Then cut away the excess and drill some new holes. Cleaning time. And now comes the sticky stuff. It's ready to paint. And now we can install both fenders, install the blinker, don't forget the fluid, the rear bumper and the taillights. It is looking good. So after all this work, is the car finally ready for the road? I can proudly announce, this car is saved and ready for the road. This is the first time driving with this car, with the Mazda, since the repair. And as you can see here, no lights on the dashboard. This is not good, but yeah, I hope it's nothing dramatic or something like that. Well, car drives, no weird sounds whatsoever and no issues. So let's hope it stays like that. It just came back on! Oh my god! I don't know why, but it just came back on. I'm happy that this works now. The car is finally getting washed in here.